Welcome to today's live, bright and early from here in Las Vegas. It's Wednesday, July 1. So we're halfway through the year, number one. happy through the year. Number two, it's Canada Day, so Canadian friends, happy Canada Day. And then number three, we have the July Tea Challenge for Tea Curious happening right now, today, as of this moment. So please welcome, me, and then our
is live and the month's challenge, Delphine, who I'm beaming up on Instagram in just a little bit. So Delphine will help us talk about the challenge. Again, this is our very first community-hosted Tea Curious challenge, and I'm super excited to have Delphine on to host it. Yeah, I'll let Delphine talk about it. Good morning, you guys, and welcome.
Great, good morning. So I'm just trying to move a little so you can see my tea tray later on. So it's really a pleasure to host this challenge. Thanks again for this opportunity. So the idea is to have a Teaware Olympics. Since the Olympics were moved to next year, why not have one tea related instead? We're gonna test various teaware pieces and try to find out more about the interaction between, for instance, teacups or teapots with or tea. And the idea is also to find out which pieces are best suited for which tea. So to complete the challenge, what you'll have to do is host 3 different events, like if it was the Olympics. The event is the tea you will choose. You can choose a whole category like green tea, or you can be more specific like Japanese green tea. And then you will either make your competition based on the teacups or the brewing vessel, and you will simply compare which one does the best tea. Maybe the result will be very different if you choose the same cups for black tea, for oolong, for green tea. As you've already seen through Ree's tea practice, there is a huge interaction between the teaware and the tea. So that's really the focus point of this challenge. It will be mostly hosted on Discord. Since it's a very text-heavy challenge, I think it's best if we can really share our experience, write down a lot of notes. But of course, if you want to participate through Instagram, feel free to do it. You can use the hashtag Teaware Olympics. And today we're going to do a small example so you can understand how to compare your teaware, what to do if you want to use different cups, how to pour. If you need to use a pitcher, it can be a good idea. You may want to use something like a scale to measure the water. So that's pretty much what you need. You'll really be testing your own teaware in your way. So even if we do an example today, I think it would be fun to also find out how everyone is testing their own collection. So that's the point of it. Today we're gonna taste the Nepal Gingras Berry Autumnal. It's a tea from Camellia sinensis where I work. It's actually my favorite tea in the whole world, and since I convinced Ree to get some, we can try this tea together. Let me show you. It's that beautiful black tea that you may already know. Gingras Berry has a good reputation already, so I think a lot of you may be familiar with some of their teas. And our event will be based around teacups. As you can see, we already has, I think, 8 teacups. I also have 8 on my side.
When I called Delphine before the live, I was like, let's just out. Maybe I just need 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Actually, and then popping up with 8. So, okay, yeah, I have 8 right now, but if you guys are joining the Teaware Olympics, you do not have to have 8. What's the minimum we need for our round, Delphine? How many should we?
I think 3 is a good minimum because you can do podium. You could do 2 if you only have 2 of an item and you want to test it. But if, for instance, you only have 2 Kyusu, why not add a few Gaiwan? You don't have to be very specific in what you're testing. If what you're testing is brewing, it can be different, various shapes. It doesn't matter. So do it the way you like it. But I think 3 is very good. As I said on the Discord, I like 4 because then there's a clear loser. But maybe that's just me being mean.
So I love it because the idea is to have a ranking system, right? Like a 1, 2, 3. So first best performing, second best performing, third best performing. And yeah, we've talked about this before in tea practice on the lives, that if you are investing in good tea, the teaware that you use will also change the flavor of your tea a lot. So I see people, you know, do a side-by-side of Dongding A and Dongding B, let's say from floating leaves, but they're using different cups. And I'm like, I'm not sure the result is going to be correct because the cup will change the flavor of the tea quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's something interesting in that is that even though it sounds very geek, it's quite obvious. If you take your thinnest cup and your thickest cup, you will see a difference. If you have a different shape like these two, it will change how you taste it, because when you drink, the shape of the cup will drop the tea at first. The how can I call that? The contact point will be different on your tongue. So if you have a very wide cup, your tongue will be stimulated in a different way than if you have a cylinder shaped cup. So it's very important, I think, when you're building a teaware collection to be aware of that, so that you don't only buy stuff that you think is cute, but really things that will enhance your tea experience. And even though you may not be really interested in ceramics or in teaware in general, I think once you've tasted the difference, you will probably start to notice a lot more what you are drawn to in stores. I have had some experience where I really like a teapot, but as soon as I take it in my hands, I don't like the feel. And it's like the teapot gets less pretty because of that. Or on the contrary, I try a cup and it's just so well fitted that it just becomes the cutest teacup I have. So there's an interaction between your appreciation of the piece and how it will perform in the tea practice.
Right. I actually didn't believe it until my teacher, one of my teachers, sat me down and said, "Hey, Ree, get the 3 cups from my kitchen counter and let's side-by-side them." And I said, there's no way there's going to be a difference, because I've always been told if it's glazed, it's not going to make a difference. Only if it's clay and porous will it make a difference. And I told her, oh no, there's no way. Why would it be different? I didn't know. And then she made me side-by-side it. And that's when I was like, oh my God, there is a difference. I couldn't believe it. It was 2 white cups and 1 clay cup. But even the 2 white cups, like, you know, very plain like this, you'd think that they taste exactly the same because they're both glazed. They look the same on the inside, but they taste very different. But it makes sense, right? Because the material is different. Like Delphine said, the lip is different. So yeah, for those of you who are joining us today, I hope that if you haven't already, take this challenge that Delphine has put up for us as an opportunity to test your teaware. And it's really fun because you can turn something that's supposed to be, oh, I collect teacups, how nice, they're so pretty. But not only are they pretty, but they become tools for you to be able to design what you want from the tea. I think ultimately our goal is to control as many variables as possible, so we're not wondering why our tea comes out a certain way. And if you're, you know, investing in good tea, good water, good teapot, good kettle, but then your cups are not matching the tea, I would say there's a step missing that you can kind of add on to. Joe from Fish Anywhere says, I like thicker cups for, what did he say? Like thicker cups for thicker body teas, and then he likes to use thin porcelain for most everything else. I've also observed something similar.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Thin porcelain is usually a good choice if you only have to have 1 cup, but the quality will really change your experience. You could take, as you said, the exact same shape, the same color, a similar glaze, but usually the lowest quality will make a less interesting tea from what I've experienced. And I know that you talked a lot about the effect of glass on tea. I was actually starting to have a nice collection of glass items. Then I tasted side by side and I found out I don't really like the effect of glass. But if I choose a better quality glass, I'm pretty sure the effect would be different, because that's very cheap. That's like a very Chinese, very cheap piece. This makes, I don't know how it will perform for this tea, but usually it makes a very flat and acidic tea, which I don't like. So if I had a very good quality glass, I'm pretty sure it will be different.
Right.
I already heated my teapot as well as the cups, just a little water in each, so they're a similar temperature to start with. I don't know if you started brewing your tea. Did you want to do it at the same time?
Right. Yes, let's do that. So we're both using Teaware autumnal from Delphine. Probably one of my favorite Nepalese teas ever, even after being to Nepal. It's really, really tasty. I wanted to ask Delphine to brew one together because, you know, isn't it going to be interesting if we're brewing the same tea, but we have so many different experiences? Because if you say,
Absolutely.
oh, you know, Joe or Jeremy or, you know, whoever's out there, you want to brew a tea with us, it's going to be the exact same, right? As long as we get it from the same vendor, it's the same tea, it's going to be the same. But there's so many things that can change, and that's why people will have different tasting notes. So if you ever experience something like, oh, I don't get that tasting note, you know, why did I didn't get the woody note, or I didn't get the honey note, is there something wrong with me? It's probably nothing wrong with you. It's probably just the variables. So
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
It's so sad when you find out, oh, that guy one I've been using for so long was actually pretty cheap and it makes a bad tea, or I was drinking in the same cup for so long and I just found out I don't like the effect of it. So you better test it so you know what you have, and you also know what to get if you want to expand your collection. So I'm using 4 gram in this Kyushu. I like to brew in that pot. It's really my everyday pot. So that's what I'm using for this comparison, because I know the tea will be very familiar and I will really focus on the difference between the cups.
That's a good point. If you're doing an experiment like this, just change one variable at a time. So if you're testing your cups for the first time, use a pot that you're used to. If you're testing your teapots for the first time, use cups that you're used to. So if something's weird, you're like, oh, why does that taste different? So, yeah,
I'm gonna pour the water right now because I think it will be a little longer than yours, which is in a Gaiwan. So
no problem. We have so many cups, so much joy. I really love.
Yes. Can you see all of them? Yeah, I think it's good.
For those of you in chat, what are your favorite ceramics, or like a style of ceramics that you use right now? Whether it's Yixing, Tokoname, like Japanese clay, maybe American or Canadian artists, let us know what you guys usually use the most. I just learned about Canadian tea scene for Teaware lately. I didn't know that there was so much ceramics going on over there, and it's really cool that we don't just have China or Japan to pick for our teaware. Different materials, different personalities. So I think I have 1, 2, 3 different countries on the table. Wish I had more. This is an American potter here. Got Korean one too, but I picked smaller cups for today's experiment.
Yeah, I also went with small cups. It's not mandatory, but you could go with similar shape for your experiment. You could also take a very small and a very big one, but just make sure when you're pouring your tea is as consistent as possible between the cups. So right now I'm gonna go in a circle, pour just a little in each, and make sure I come back at least twice.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing.
Some of them are already almost filled, so I hope I won't have too much tea.
I'm doing my best to do the same thing. It's not going to be perfect side by side, but that's fine. As long as you can control as much as possible, I think it's okay.
Yes. And the effect of the cup is really so obvious that even if there's a slight difference in the brewing, I think it's mostly the cup that will do the difference. Because it changes not only the taste, it changes the texture, the lingering, even the aroma. So really go ahead and test it. You will see it's really not too hard to compare your Teaware, but as you said, it's better to try to have the same variable as most as possible. Nice color, I think it's similar on both sides.
Yeah, look how different the color is in each cup. It's such a different experience. Just thinking about how you look at it, you know, like we look with when you drink with our eyes first, right? Look how green this one is. It looks like a green tea.
So these are my 8 cups. This one was actually made in Italy. I don't know how's the ceramic scene there, but my mother brought it back from a travel. This one is made in Quebec. I really like this artist. She's so sweet. And this one was made in Vermont. So a few non-Asian ceramicists, which is good because it's nice to have pieces made in tea countries, but I think there are very good ceramicists all over the world, especially if you can find a ceramicist that likes tea. It really shows if they drink tea, they will usually make pieces that really work better. My experience is mostly with teapots. If the ceramist doesn't drink tea, it will show the teapot will probably be too big, too heavy, something like that. And then you have nice pieces like those by Robin that we know from Discord, who is obviously a tea drinker because it pours so well. It's a very good shade. So try to find out more information about their ceramicist. And if you can, maybe there are ceramics exposition in your area. There is usually one in Quebec City around that time of the summer. So it's nice to have an opportunity to think about Teaware because usually I will be neck deep in Teaware purchase during the summer. So not this year, sadly.
Totally agree with all of those things. I also really like ceramics and people who love teaware. I think August was here on track just a little bit earlier. We have Habain from RB Ceramics, Shiloh from Nueva Orden. We have lots of ceramicists in the community here on Instagram and Discord, so that's really nice. I'm really interested to see what they say about this experiment, this Olympics, because it's almost like if Teaware Olympics is us with athletes, they're almost like the coaches because they make the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing I think I didn't talk about is the score sheet. I would recommend using some kind of criteria for your comparison because if you just drink it, you may be naturally drawn to a piece with which you have an emotional connection. If you write down some criteria, you will probably think a lot more about what you're looking for in a cup or in a teapot. So for instance, this morning I made a test. I wrote down taste, aroma, comfort, and aesthetic as my criteria. I gave 2 points for taste and 1 point for each of the other one because taste is still the most important in my opinion. For the comfort, it's really to think about how it will keep the heat. If your cup gets very hot, probably you will not choose it for very warm tea, but maybe it's very good for green tea. And there is an effect of heat retention with the tea. It will change the way the aroma can express themselves. I don't know why, but in my experience, if a cup holds the heat longer, it will make better, sweeter, woody aroma, while if the cup holds the heat a little less, it will make a very nice aromatic and vegetal tea. So better for green tea usually, but that's really just a choice you can make based on your tea and what you want it to taste like on that day. So you can just change with the same tea, have a completely different experience because you change your cups. So I didn't write down anything for this experiment, but I'm going to go with similar criteria. Just talk about this while I drink it.
Okay, let's go for it. I will look at how different the color is from all the teas. This one almost like a green tea. You wouldn't think tea. It's a little strange. I don't like the match. I want my black tea to look like black tea. So it's a little weird. And there's even studies that show that when you see something that's green, you expect it to taste green, and you will actually rate it lower if it doesn't match. So let's say I give Delphine something that is maple syrup colored, and then she drinks it, and then it doesn't taste like syrup. She'd be like, "What's wrong with this?" Or if I give you a blueberry and it doesn't taste like a blueberry, but your eyes are like expecting it to taste like it. So if it doesn't match, we actually rate it lower. So that's interesting.
Good
thing that I learned. So let me go try these.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do is really just take a quick sip on each, but keep some tea in each so I can come back and rethink what I evaluated at first.
And then we had a few questions come in from y'all earlier. We will answer those. So if you have any questions, I'm keeping it in mind. Just because you see us test this way right now or just test cups doesn't mean you can't think of other things to test, like pitchers or bowls or anything you'd like to do with your teaware. As long as you're building your understanding of the teaware during this challenge, I think it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, I really like that one.
It's interesting because I made the oolong earlier today with almost all the same cups. I just added this one from Vermont, and I have completely different experience now that I'm doing a black tea. And it's fun because I know this tea so well. I know exactly what I'm looking for in this one. There's a nice woody aroma that really kind of scratch the tongue. I really like that. And it's very floral. So depending on the cups, it will either taste a lot more like a traditional black tea or a lot more floral.
I did not like this one.
The green one?
Yeah, the green one did not go well. I don't like it for black tea already. We are drinking the Junchibari from Community Sinensis. It's a Nepalese tea. And I agree with Delphine. I want a cup that will bring out the best of this tea. So I want to taste like a good black tea. This one makes it taste like a green tea almost. Strange.
This cup always makes very good tea, but it's so small. I would like a larger cup like this one so I can use it on the daily.
And Delphine's right. I have sentimental attachments to some of these cups. And I know which ones have performed the best in the past. So I need to write it down just to make sure I'm actually being unbiased, because just because one cup performs well with one tea doesn't mean it performs well with another tea. It's another thing too. Different cups for different teas, which is so fun, right? You get to play with tea and then your cups.
And then it helps if you have a big collection. So if you want to choose your teacup for the day and you know which tea you're going to use, maybe it will help if you have like 20 cups or more. It's always hard, in my opinion, to choose, which one I'm going to use today. I like them all, even if I know some make better tea.
So we're just sipping through the cups right now. For those of you joining in, oh God, glass is so terrible for black tea. It's so bad.
Well, it's terrible for everything, but let's not say that.
Some people do like glass. So if you hear us say something, I agree with Delphine. I don't like glass very much for most teas. There are some teas that I like it for, but it also depends on your personal taste. So for example, my tea teacher, the other one sister, they actually disagree. The one sister prefers porcelain and the other sister prefers glass. And they're like, I don't understand why why would she prefer glass? So it depends on the and your what you're looking for in the tea, your personal preference.
So far in this one, what I don't like, the taste is okay, but the lip is very thick. Like if I compare these two, they have a similar thickness, but this one has been rounded, while this one is very flat. And I don't know why they did that, but there's a kind of porous texture on the top, but just there, not here or here. So it's very weird. And even if it's not taste related, really changes the experience. Not really fun. The glass one has a very nice shape, but it's just the tea is muted. I would
It's
not
very
even recognize this tea in that cup.
I agree. I think what I'm gonna do, I picked too many cups for this experiment. I'm gonna remove the ones that I'm sure I don't like, so I can. I really don't like the glass. I don't think I'm just being biased. I really don't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna also remove a few. So this one, it's not good. It is not too bad though, but
this is a very typical Chinese celadon. I think this is Longquan celadon. I used to love these cups because they're so beautiful and they feel really good. But once I started doing side by sides, this is another cup that I fell out of love with because I don't like it as much. I do like it for heicha. It goes well with heicha. But everything else, no.
I think I'm gonna do a second round with maybe only 5 cups. So I'm gonna decide which one I remove, then do a second steeping on the same tea. So during the challenge, if you want, if you have many cups to test and you want maybe to do different rounds, it's something you could do. Like maybe you want to test 3 different green tea to find out overall on green tea how your cup performs. So if you do that, even more important, I think, to take notes so you can make maybe add up the points for each tea and find out which does best for green tea in general. Do it as you like, but I think 2 or 3 rounds is a good idea to have a clearer perspective in your collection.
You could even do the same set of teaware, but 3 different teas, just to get to know it. So whatever combination you'd like to do, I think. I'm finding some favorites right now. It's happening. Such a good cup. Oh my gosh. So this is me showing my not biased. This is actually a cup that we picked for our ceramics project in Taiwan, but I'm gonna take it out because I don't think it's good for black tea. So we're still trying to figure out what these are good for. We like them for Oriental beauty, but not so much for black tea. So the ones remaining are these, and this is probably the surprise one. This is a really cheap travel set cup that I actually put in because I've never figured out what I like in it, but it actually tastes good for this round.
How's the color in that one? Maybe it's hard to see on camera, but
it's dark. It's
cup.
Like, yeah.
It
I'm
can
not
be
sure how I feel
surprising.
about it. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure you could use it for a specific, specific tea session, but it's a little bit too dark for me. It just doesn't show tea.
Yeah. A dark cup has to be very glossy, so it kind of the light bounce in it, so it lights the tea from inside.
It does bounce it, yeah. But it's still just a little bit too dark for me. Not too bad though. I think show 4 looks really terrible on this cup. Like it looks like the void. Okay, cool. Yeah, any questions so far from you guys, let us know. Again, this is the Teaware Olympics Challenge that Delphine is hosting as our very first community-based challenge at Teaware. Super excited. We are going to be hosting this mostly on the Discord, just because we think there's going to be a lot of typing. Like Delphine said, if you want to type it on Instagram, no worries, just hashtag Teaware Olympics, and we'll find you. But over on the Discord, the challenge details have already been posted by Delphine, and you can go check it out. And then I'll ask you a little bit later about the prize that came up, because I was really excited about the prize that Delphine is giving out for the challenge.
I can show it between the rounds. My tea is going to be a little too hot to drink right now, so I can just finish pouring. So the cup for the prize is a piece made by a local artist called Julie Lavoie. She's very popular among the tea community here in Quebec. She makes very good pieces, very well made, beautiful glaze. So this is the cup that you could win if you complete the challenge on Discord. The challenge, just to remind you, you only have to share the result of 3 experiments like this. So it's not that long to do. Maybe there's a lot of dishes afterward, but if you just write down everything, it took me maybe 10 minutes this morning. So it doesn't have to be really complicated. You don't have to do rounds if you don't want to, but do it in a way that is useful to you. So what I like about this one, I don't know if it can show on the camera, but there's a very big difference in the white glaze from a side to another one. You can see it more clearly in the foot. The side that is more orange was in front of the fire, while this one was away from the fire. It really makes a very good, very pretty cup. I really like the shape of that. The lip is good. It's also a good size for guy ones. So I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully it will bring some interest in the Quebec ceramic scene. Like you said, Ree, there are very good artists down there, so up there. So I hope you can find out a little more about them.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Did you say that the cup is a wood-fired piece? Is it a wood-fired piece?
Yes. And
Yeah.
it really shows in the inside. I think the darkest part in the middle is due to the ash building up during the process. So very, very nice in person.
Yeah, we really love wood-fired pieces. We had the opportunity to visit a wood-fired kiln in Taiwan, and the amount of work and effort is just insane. So no matter where it's from, it's not necessarily from Taiwan, but even from around the world, we love wood-fired stuff. I know that, again, Chauvet in New York City is one of the American wood fires. I'm not sure if Shiloh does any wood-fired stuff. Sohan's here. I'm not sure if he carries any wood-fired stuff, but another element to tea ceramics. Yeah, that's a beautiful cup, and they show up so beautiful in person. Like how beautiful the cup is on camera, it's like 2 or 3 times better in person.
Yeah, there's really a nice depth to the glaze, and I like that it's kind of telling a story. To me, when I look at this, there's a snowstorm building, and really, I could just watch this and drink tea very calmly in a snowstorm, and I'd be very happy.
Yeah, I like that as well about wood-fired stuff. It seems like no matter how long we own the piece, something always appears that I never noticed before. Even if I've had the piece like a year or 2 years already. I'm like, wow, I never noticed. That's so beautiful. So I actually used to be, I used to only use ceramics, like cheap factory-made ceramics, until one of my ceramics friends asked me, why do you drink such a good tea from small farmers, small makers, but then all your teaware is from big factories, big makers? Isn't it the same difference? I'm like, I guess so.
You wouldn't see a wine expert drink out of a cardboard cup. So it's the same for tea. If you want to really push your practice to the maximum, I think it's really important to pay attention to your tubes.
Agree. It makes such a big difference for sure.
Oh,
so
completely different. The second infusion is very strong. I have a darker color too.
I'm going to keep doing my first infusion. So this is still the first infusion for me, second infusion for Delphine. Highly recommend to do this for the first time with a tea that you know very well, again. So if you're a pu'er person, use a pu'er that you know. If you're an oolong person, use an oolong you really know. You might discover a cup that does your favorite tea better than you already expected, which is great. Jeremy, you mentioned that you're doing an experiment today. Did you, what did you set up today? And then we had a question from Joe earlier, to throw in another factor. Yeah, I'm curious about this from you, Delphine. I never asked you, but what are your thoughts on chahai, fairness pitcher for tea?
I think, well, it's something I've heard you say before. The more you use steps when you're pouring tea, it will have an effect each time. So if you're using a pitcher between the teapot and the cups, of course it will help to avoid like pouring in a way that makes a very stronger cup at the end and a lighter cup at the beginning. So it could be very useful, but in my opinion, I really prefer to pour directly in the cup. If I'm drinking alone, it's different. If I'm drinking with other people, I will try to kind of not just focus on the tea experiment, but also on the sitting with other people. So let's just say I'm drinking alone. I know exactly which teapot fit with which of my cups. That's something I really like. I know the pairings I like the most. And I think if I use a pitcher, there's usually some loss of flavor. I can't explain why, but all the experiments I've done so far, if I pour from the teapot to a pitcher to a cup and another cup directly without the pitcher, even if it's the exact same cup, there's a difference. And I have a few glass pitcher. That's the one I use the most, knowing that I don't really like the effect of glass on my in my cups. It's probably the same, and it's not just drinking out of it. Really, just putting the tea in it. There's an interaction, and I know Shiloh has explained a few times in your live tea practice that there is a chemical effect because of the material used. So it's really logical that if you use a different pitcher, it will change. But that's also something I want to try during the challenge. I have maybe, I think, 6 different pitchers here. So I would definitely, I would probably do a side-by-side of all my pitchers and find out which one I need to keep and which one are really too bad for tea. I have a glass one that is very cheap, and I think it doesn't work that much. But I have a very nice, the glass with a lot of texture. I don't know how it's called in English, but I have one from Taiwan that was a little more pricey. And in my experiment, it makes a very good tea. So who knows?
I need to test a better glass. So when I went to Venice last year for just a day, it was cheaper to fly out of Venice than where I was supposed to go. So I'm not fancy. It just saved me money to go there. I don't know why. But then I lost money because I bought this Venice glass. So even at the time, I didn't like glass. So I thought I need to get like a nice handmade glass, a better one. So when I was in Venice, I'm like, they make glass for so many centuries. This has to be the good one, right? Mm. So supposedly this is real Venice glass, but I haven't liked it with anything yet.
Oh no!
I have to test it some more during this Olympics. I just like you, I don't like the lip that's so flat. This is actually designed for sake that they were exporting to Japan, so maybe that's why it's not doing so well with tea. But this is one of my most expensive cups, so I should have got a purpose for it.
If it's expensive, it should be okay.
Right? The lady was very snooty about it too, because I was like, no, I want a small one, a really, really tiny one. Because I said, what are you going to use it for? I said, tea. And she says, oh, we have big mugs. You can eat. No, I'm like, I want the small one.
You don't get it, lady.
I only want one. Is that okay? It's a very fancy place, so I don't think she liked dealing with me, but that's okay. Yeah. How's your test over there, Delphine?
Yeah, I realize I'm just sipping and not really writing down anything. So this morning, my 3 best cups for the oolong I made were these 2, and that one was the gold medal. For that tea, it's interesting because when I drink out of it, it's kind of light, a little too light in my opinion, but there's a very nice lingering that doesn't appear as much in the other cups. So I like that, but when I go for that tea, it's not something I'm looking for. I really want, it's very nice, woody aroma, as I said. So I want something with more punch. So I know this one won't be the gold medal in that event. So very good for oolong, but not as interesting for black tea, even if it has a good effect. This one, there's something I don't like about the shape. It's, as I said, it's very small, and I like to sip out of it, but I'm unable to finish it. I would have to really drop my head. So it's not taste related, but it changes my experience. So I really want to take notice of that. And that one didn't make such a good tea this morning in the oolong, but for the black tea, I really like it. So I'm happy because I really like this Ceramicus. It's just very nice.
So we need to narrow it down for the challenge. The idea is to narrow it down to 3,
Yes.
which is good because I like all 5 of these. But now I need to make a decision as to which one's the best. I think this is important because for a long time we've been doing experiments, but we haven't written down every single result. So sometimes I don't know, I don't remember. And I think it's good to make a decision. I'm going to rank mine too.
And this one is a cup I usually really like, but for that one, it's very bitter. I don't like it. I'm gonna discard it. Oh, another thing I didn't talk about is the, I don't know how you call it in English, but the emptied cup smells very good. And depending on the cup, usually if it's a thick cup, it will keep the aroma longer. But when you finish a tea, please smell the inside of your emptied cup. It smells so good.
I always forget.
And depending on the cup, it will be different. So another thing to take into consideration, I really like the smell of tea. I like the taste, of course, but the smell is a close second parameter that I look for. And right now, it doesn't smell that much. So I went down to 4 cups.
This is the cup that I use almost always when I'm just drinking for myself. I'm going to put it to the side, though. I don't like it as much there. And then I'm going to remove this one. So it's interesting because they're both porcelain, right? If you look at them really quick, oh, no worries, they're the same. But there is really a big difference between these two. I'm not sure where this one is from. This one is a Teaware porcelain from China. This kind of looks like a Gingras cup, but I'm not sure if it's from there. But they look like they're from different producers. If you notice, one is more light colored, kind of like a warmer white. The other one's more bluish white. And I'm not a ceramicist, I'm not a chemist, but if it's a different color, it's going to be a different material, different composition, so it makes sense. I like this one better, so I have my 3.
Apparently in Jingras, they prefer a little bluish porcelain to the very white one. I don't know if it's related to the taste, probably just aesthetic. But this one is from Jingras. Don't know the artist, but it's very thin. It made the most floral tea. So really cup I would pick for that kind of tea, even if it's a very thin cup that I would usually think it's more interesting in green tea. For that one, I like the floral aroma a lot. I just need to find out between these 3 which one I'm gonna keep. And even if it's very thin, it still smells very good. So it's not just the heat.
It smells really, really good. I love the smell of tea and porcelain. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are my 3. I need to rank them now. So here's Delphine's podium for the Teaware Olympics. Our athletes have been, we've been going through our athletes. The other ones didn't make it because they didn't practice enough. And no, it's just not a match. Do you have 3 now that you need to rank now, Delphine?
I think I'm gonna keep these 3 and remove that one, even if I really like the aftertaste. Since it's not what I'm looking for when I go for that that specific black tea, I'm gonna pick these 3. So the podium would be bronze medal for that one. Even if it's a little hard to empty, it has a very good thickness. It keeps the sweetness of the tea very well. And the narrow shape is very good for the smell. So that would be bronze. This is my silver in the podium. I didn't like that one this morning with the oolong, but for that black tea, it made a good texture. It didn't stay too hot for too long. And I don't know, there's something I like about the lightness, very good texture, and that one for the floral difference in the taste
Oh, so this
would
is
be,
that's your gold?
yeah, that's a gold.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
isn't it weird that, wow, out of all the 8 cups that we both have, we both landed at, I think it's Jingdezhen style at least. I'm not sure if it's from Jingdezhen, but the blue white porcelain. This is probably my silver.
Mm,
Yeah. So
interesting.
yeah, that is interesting. I think this is my bronze. My bronze is going to be this. I don't even know what material this is. It's like painted porcelain. I don't even know. It's from a cheap travel set, but I like the long aftertaste. So the taste itself is not good, but it makes it very smooth, and the aftertaste is very long. So it's bronze, just because it's interesting. I'm thinking not just how good the taste is. It's my number one, the taste, but I'm surprised that you can make a different effect with this cup. So that's my bronze. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised by this. I didn't expect to put this on the podium. My silver is similar to Delphine's gold, which is a thin porcelain, bluish porcelain from China. Very, very thin. I like the aroma. And we have similar notes for this, which is interesting. I agree, it's very floral, good aroma. And I like aroma for Nepalese tea. I think that's why I picked it. And then, Steven, I hope you're happy. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I don't think I am, because we put our other cup that we picked in Taiwan away. This is a wood-fired teacup from Taiwan. Yeah, it's just so much depth. Aroma's there, sweetness is there, everything. So it's got everything.
Nice. It's interesting that we didn't necessarily pick cups with a white interior. I know a lot of people in tea speak about how important it is to see the color. Of course, it's important, but there are other factors to take into consideration as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have two very dark cups, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would have picked this on another day, but today, just the situation, I think it's okay.
Sure.
Somehow it performed well. I used to be someone who always emphasized light colored inside too, but that changed once I started getting into ceramics. This just tastes so good. I don't mind not seeing the color completely, but the inside is still so beautiful and golden that it reflects the color of the tea, and so I don't mind. But yes, that is really interesting.
The picture can be interesting for that. Whenever I'm using a darker cup, I will usually take a glass pitcher so I can at least enjoy the color of the tea in the picture. It's
Right.
just a different way of seeing it.
Right. Agree. Yeah. Well, what's the second and third one? What material are they for yours?
This one is porcelain. It's very thin. This is an uneven shape. So that's something that everyone likes. Like on that, I don't know if you can see, that part is really kind of folded on the side. So very unique shape. I like that one for sake. This one I don't know. I picked it in Vermont last year at the Stoneware Tea House. Stoneleaf Tea House. It was made by the lady who worked there. She was very nice, so I was happy to get it. And my tiny guy one?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same artist who made it.
Artist.
I have no idea what it's made of, but a little thicker. Like, this is the thickest of the three.
So we have our podium now. So
Yeah.
bronze, silver, gold, and then now that means I have 1 out of 3 of my challenge completed.
Yeah, exactly. You just
So
need to post it on Discord if you want to win the cup.
Right. I wish we could win the cup. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. I think we were, Delphine was super clear about it. Maybe Delphine, you could give us just a quick rundown of what to look for when someone is doing this.
Yeah. So I talked about the heat retention. I think if you have a hard time picking up your cup because it gets too hot, that's really going to be something that is not taste related, but not that fun. So usually when you have thinner cup, you will go for green tea or something that you will brew in a water that's not that's not boiling. So pay attention to how it feels when you manipulate the cup, or any other tea where I know I have some Gaiwan that I have a hard time pouring with because they are too thin. So I keep them for green tea. It's not taste related, but that's very important. If you're drinking tea, you want to have everything perfect if you can. So when you have the cup in your hand, you're also enjoying your tea because you're enjoying its heat. You can maybe hold it and smell it. So if it's too hot, you're not going to be able to do that. So if you want to pay attention to all your senses, I think the touch is something that we don't pay attention that much to when we drink tea, but it's not just the texture in the mouth, the way it feels in your hand. So maybe that's something you will not think of, but the comfort in your hand. If it's easy to pick, I know maybe you will want to test your chawan. And in the Japanese tea ceremony, they usually pick their chawan by the side like that. So if you have no foot on your chawan, maybe that's something you're not gonna like because it's hard to pick up. So think about how you drink your tea, what you want to be the most perfect as possible when you drink. So the touch, there's also the smell. If you like to smell the empty cup, make sure when they are still a little hot that you put your nose in the cups and smell them. It will be different depending on the shape. Usually closer shape will be better for that, for the smelling the empty cup. And of course, you will probably want to pay attention on how the aroma of the tea is in each different cup. So maybe there is a tea that you really like because of a specific aroma. You will definitely pick your cup depending on how you can enhance this specific aroma. So pay attention to what you're personally looking for. What else? There is a texture. I usually like this one, but this morning I didn't like when it was on my lip. It felt rough. It was the first time I experienced it like that, so maybe I'm just sensible today, who knows. But the contact with the lip, the contact with your hands is part of the tea drinking. It's not what you have in your mouth, but tea, it's not just, it doesn't start to exist at the moment you drink it. It's already there when you pour it in your cup. It's already there when you pick up the cup. So pay attention to each step, and I think you will have a more interesting experience, maybe a little more meditative too. If you like each step, you will really be there for the tea and really be there to enjoy it. If you want to test teapots, the pouring isn't important. If there is always a drop on the...
I can't stand it. No matter how nice a teapot is, if it drips, over.
If it drips. If the lid is not comfortable, if it's loose, I don't know, if the teapot is very heavy, if you don't like the handle, it will be important to note that, so that if you continue to build your Teaware collection, you know what you want and you know what to look for. And it will help you if there are two Kyusu that you really like. As soon as you pick them up, you will know how you like it to feel in your hand. Like for me, this shape of handle that is very low, I really like that. I don't like there are sometimes the handle are a little higher. I don't like that shape. I have very small hands, so I don't have the same criteria as someone else would have. Yeah, exactly. I think it's maybe just I need to pay attention to how I pick it up. But with my small hands, there are teapots that I don't like. There are cups that are a little too big for my hands. It will not be the same criteria as someone else, but it's your own experience that is important in this challenge. please write down if you find out a little more about what you like in a cup. Maybe you will get to understand understand it a little better. So please share it with us over Discord. It will be very fun if people join for this challenge. I think it's a very positive and fun community. I really like it. Thank you so much, Ree, for having this for us.
Of course, thank you. Yeah, so like Delphine said, if you notice something that's different, don't think, oh, it's not the same as what Delphine and Ree said. Is it stupid if I think this way about my experience? Of course not. There's something always new. So if you're like, I don't like the foot, or I don't like the color or the smell, share it too, because there are so many times that I thought, oh, there's no way that's going to make a difference. There's no way, that's stupid. And then someone showed me, and then I was like, wow, it does make a difference. So please do share it with us. We have the hashtag Teaware Olympics on Instagram. On Discord, it's the channel Teaware Olympics. So I think we'll learn a lot together. I'm really excited.
It will be fun. And if we have enough data, in the end, I'd like to do a medal countdown and try to, maybe we'll find out with our collective data what is better for green tea, what is better for black tea. So who knows, maybe like, it's very surprising that we both picked a white and blue porcelain for that tea. Maybe there's something there. So we may have similar taste. Maybe it's really just that this is actually a good pick for this kind of tea. So we'll find out with the collective data in the end too. I think it's very, very good if you want to learn more, to listen to what others have to say, and also to write down what you think. It helps you to understand a little more your own practice. Right.
I'm excited. So we can put some data. There's no just like, oh, tokoname is good for green tea. It's like, are you sure? Let's test it.
Yeah. And for me, I really like the Kyushu teapot, and I want everyone to use it, not only for Japanese tea, so that's another thing. If you want to test it, maybe it's a very good pick for Indian black tea. You don't know unless you've tried it. So don't let your assumption limit you in this challenge. Try to use cups or teapots that you don't really think will work. Maybe you will find out something interesting.
Right. I'm actually going to use a wood cup because I know Zaihong from Germany talked about wood cups for tea. That's something I never thought of too. So that's going to be one of our experiments.
Oh, interesting. I've seen wooden cups, but I have never tried one. I've tried the little boxes for sake, but never tried one for tea.
Right.
So.
Right. That's his concept, is that if they use it for sake, why not for tea? But I have this mental block that said, oh, don't use wood for tea. But why, when we haven't tested it, right? Why do you have that mental block? Speaking for me, why do I have that mental block? So until we try it.
Maybe it's the next big trend.
Maybe. We're going to tell Zion about it. But yeah, until when is this challenge, Delphine, going to be?
July 15th. 15th? Is it the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
So you have 15 days, actually 16 days to do it. You can start today, and you can do more than 3 if you want. I know I want to try to test all my teacups. Not sure I'm going to be able to do that. It's going to be a lot of dishes to do. But it's the first thing I wanted to do, really try to understand my cups and maybe get rid of cups I never use.
Right.
So I can buy more.
Yeah, we have some of that testing to do too. So I'm actually going to be on the Discord all day doing experiments. It's going to Olympics all day. So those of you who are on the Discord who want to join us anytime during the day, I'll be on the voice chat. If you have any questions, ask me or Delphine. I think, Delphine, you wanted to do a French language explanation of this as well. When is that going to be?
So it would be on Friday. I haven't decided on the hour yet, but you can join even if I will speak French, because maybe you can pick some things up along the way, and it will also be very visual. But I would like people from Quebec to join, so we can be an even better, an even bigger part of the Discord and take over. I didn't say that.
Participation is good.
Yeah, Friday I will make a live tea session with the Teaware Olympics in French.
Okay, So we have to wrap up. Discord, Instagram's kicking us off. But thank you, Delphine. Welcome
Thanks
to the
to you.
challenge. Happy July, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.